So this project involves a antique cherry crib that was handcrafted by a woodworker for his grandkids. Here's a picture of the crib just kind of stood up in the garage shop. And I love the curves on the top. It's all wood doweled together. I put little nameplates of the babies and when they were born. The two kids that in the family that lived in the crib in their first months. Here's a handcrafted brand that I found underneath the crib. Hardy Bachelor, who's the grandfather who's now deceased. And we decided to make it into a child's bench. So this was a sketch that I was in my mind crafting up, trying to use the arches and repurpose that. So the first job was going to be to pull the whole thing apart. I got to figure out how to pull apart the crib, not damage anything. So here you can see I've got one of the end pieces clamped up, and I've got the bottom clamp set up to press open the wood joints. And here you can see they're wood doweled. He used wood dowels throughout the project, which in my 30 years of woodworking, I've never used dowels. Here's one of the side rails where he had mortise and tenon all of the slats together. Next picture here shows a lot of the craftsmanship. See, each of those slats was, he put a tenon on it, and then in the side rail he was able to create multiple mortises for all of those vertical slats. It's even got the little pencil marks here. You can see I love this part of just the craftsmanship of the woodworker. And here are mortised end points where he did use hardware when the whole thing was going to be assembled together as a crib. And ultimately I ended up with a pile of pieces, and I had to try and figure out, okay, from these pieces now how I'm going to create this bench. So with some planning and my rough sketching, I set out to try and little by little configure a bench. Here's that curved piece, and you can see I've got a single dowel here. And so all of these pieces that were broken apart had to get cleaned up, had to cut off the old dowels and repurpose it to be able to create a new strong joint. Good thing that the old glue made 20 years ago was not very good, so it was fairly easy to take it apart without damage. I've never used dowels before, so Rob Batchelor bought me a Dowling Jig. Pictured here, it supports 3 sizes of dowels, and this next photo is an example of that end piece where he had a single dowel in the middle. With this new jig, I was able to create 4 dowels in that one piece, along with the new woodworking glue. That's going to be a very, very strong joint going forward. Here's the back kind of laid out and mocked up. Started getting it cut down to size, laying out where the arms are going to go and how tall the bench should be. A lot of this was kind of just slow trial and error, and put it together and take some measurements and see where everything was going to fit together. This next photo is having laid those out, figuring out where I'm going to drill the dowel connections for the arms and the seat. Here I'm using the very large size dowels for the armrest, so it's going to make a real strong joint in that coming back to the seat to hold any weight. And this is a picture of the dry fit. So I've got 2 dowels in the back and 3 on the bottom. So the top had the 2 big ones. That bottom seat piece had 3. This photo is of the slats. So they used this really tiny dowel that he originally used, that original 1/4" size. And so all the slats I had to cut shorter and re-drill out. And there's a picture of the frame with the arms and the back. And now I had to figure out how to do the seat. So in order to get the seat through, I decided to, on the router table, cut a groove in the front and back pieces, and that the slats would just sit in. So they all sit side by side tightly. Here's kind of a mock-up of that seat area with the slat on the left and the right in the middle, just to see how it's all going to fit together. And I went ahead and tried to stick all of the slats in there side by side, just get them nice and tight. And the corners of the boards are going to hold everything together, so there's no hardware in there. And then here's the final glue up of the back. Lots of clamps, lots of glue and dowels. And so I did the whole thing in 2 phases. I glued all the back in and just have the seat there as a placeholder. And then the second phase I went in and glued the whole arms and seat. This is the final bench with a side view. You can see a lot of the craftsmanship of different points where he had created. This is the bottom view. You can see all of the original mortises from one of the pieces on the bottom. His writing here, it says right, and there's another one. The next photo shows left. That's his original penmanship when he was laying it out, trying to keep track of his pieces. Again, on the back, you can see where on the left is the A, and on the right side there's a B, and that left channel is where the side crib slid up and down. So there's a front top view of the bench as it is finished. I didn't try and change any of the original varnish finish. I love the old weathered look. And there's a back view and the final side view. And down below you can see his brand again. So thank you for letting me be a part of this project. It was fun, and now I've got my first experience with wood dowels.